Hey everyone, it's time for the Snake Show, a lunch and learn adventure with Cameron Young, with the Center for Snake Conservation. I'm sitting here eating my lunch. Hopefully you can enjoy your lunch as well. This is I'm having seafood Alfredo. Probably too much pasta for me right now, but you know what? It tastes good, so I'm gonna have it. So, mm, mm, mm. Stuff my face. We'll get started. The Snake Show. Well, what's the Snake Show gonna be? Well, it's going to be our lunch and learn adventure every Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Why not? Well, who am I to be doing a lunch and learn adventure? Well, I'm Cameron Young. I'm the executive director of the Center for Snake Conservation. I'm also, oh, hello, little Womble Python didn't want to sit on my shoulder anymore. I'm also, you could call me the chief snake lover at Center for Snake Conservation, because I really enjoy and love these snakes. But you could probably call me a glorified poop scooper. It's really what I could be. But let's just go back to executive director. Why not? So the Snake Show, we're going to do. Why would I be doing a snake show? Why would I be doing a weekly show to talk about snakes? Well, snake conservation is something that we all need to consider, and it's paramount in our world today. In that, not just snakes, but conservation of our natural ecosystems. But snakes are so vital to make sure those natural ecosystems, when we do get some conservation efforts, that they're healthy. Without snakes, we're lost. But people don't like snakes, and it's really hard to convince somebody to conserve something if they don't like it or love it. There has to be a personal engagement or involvement in a species for that person to really grab hold of it and for in terms of conservation purposes. But I've been called the snake man before. I'm not really a snake man. I'm not the crocodile hunter. I'm just somebody who's really passionate about these animals, and hopefully I can more of an educator, and hopefully I can teach you something, get you snake-spired, a term that we've been using around here, snake-spiration. And you know, it's winter right now. I'm looking out my window, and there's still some snow on the ground. It's going to be 50 degrees today, which is great. But it's going to be back down to not come above freezing tomorrow here in Colorado. But parts of the world, there's still lots of snakes. And what I like to mention here is that as the weather gets warmer, we'll be doing these snake shows outdoors, and we're going to find some snakes. We're going to find real snakes. We're going to find, well, I have a real snake here in my hand, but we're going to find wild snakes and show you the human interaction with the snake is typically the snake flees. And if more and more people can see that, then we have this shift of, well, the snakes are afraid of me. Now let's figure out why. What's so cool? And then learn more about that snake, why it might be afraid of you, and we can change that fear into fascination. And that's something that is huge for snake conservation, is fear to fascination. So one of the things that we want to talk about today is kind of what the Snake Show is. I just told you something about snakes and why they're so cool, and why they're such an incredible. And I do that a lot of times with my Snakes Alive program. And maybe one day we'll just do a Snakes Alive program here on the Snake Show, where I get up in front of a group of people and we just talk about snakes. And I go through and I get out lots of different snakes, not just one, not just a Womble Python, but lots of different snakes. I like to go from 12 to 15 and 20 snakes is 20 different species of snake is good. But you know what? When there's 33,522 species of snake in the world, recent number that just came out in the reptile database, 20 is not enough. I mean, goodness gracious, we could, if I could show you 1,000 snakes, man, your appreciation would go from holy smokes, it's just a slithery crawling thing into really a snake. But in that Snakes Alive program, I start off with, what is a snake? A snake is a vertebrate It's a reptile. So first off, it's a vertebrate, has a backbone, and then it's a reptile. And look at here's a snake skeleton. Now, what's really cool about a snake skeleton is that every vertebrae here has a pair of ribs associated, a left and right rib associated with it. And that's what makes a snake. That's what allows them to move the way they do. That's what allows them to eat their prey whole. It allows them to swim, crawl, slither, whatever you want to say, crawl. Some snakes actually do kind of just rectilinear motion like a caterpillar does. So you could almost say it's a crawl. And sidewind even. And if it weren't for those paired ribs along the every vertebrae having a paired rib, that would not be possible because the snake just couldn't move. They don't have legs. Other things about snakes is they don't have external ear openings. Does that mean they can't hear? No, snakes can hear. They hear through their bottom jaw, which you can't really see on this, but that bottom jaw there, a vibration goes up and it vibrates into the ear. They have a forked tongue that's used for smelling, but that's not really unique to just snakes. They all have scales. They here, let's put this down. Let's look at this snake here. Let's look at the Woma python. So with the Woma python, we have every one of those vertebrae see those belly scales is paired with matches up with a belly scale. And so a snake can move those individually on each side, but either way, and every one, there's muscles between them, intercostal muscles between them that can move that snake. Now, if you're moving like a caterpillar, you're moving them up, you're picking up the vertebrae and setting back down and then pushing and picking them up. If you're moving like a snake that you see slithers or a swimming snake, they're moving them back and they're moving them kind of muscles down the line of it move, and then the snake will crawl forward. And so that's just really what makes up a snake. So we said no external ear opening. So if you find something that it looks like a snake, but it has a hole in its head right there for an ear, it's probably a lizard. There are legless lizards out there. Let's see here. A snake has a single lung. It depends on which group of snakes, whether it's the right or left lung that's been enlarged, and it's long and skinny. And you think about it, a snake, all its body parts have to be long and skinny. So its stomach on the snake is about right here. And you go down, you have all these intestines, and you have your testes or your kidneys are paired up together, and one's up here and the other one's down here for a male snake. And for a female snake, the ovaries are the same way. They're lined up instead of being side by side like in most animals. So that's everything in a snake has been adapted or is to this long linear body shape. They're cold-blooded. I don't really like the term cold-blooded. I prefer ectotherm, which means ecto, outside, therm, energy. So they get their energy from outside sources. Because cold-blooded means that, the snake's always cold. People always think that. And that is not true at all. Snakes are rarely cold. They maintain a temperature that they want to based on their environment. They move up and down in the soil. They move in and out of the water. They bask. They move on top of a rock. They'll be under the rock. They'll find that spot under the rock that's just the right temperature for them in what process they're doing right now. If it's a hibernating snake, it'll be a cold snake. It'll go deep in the ground, and it won't be burning a lot of energy. But a snake has just eaten something, needs a lot of energy. For one, they got to digest that food item. They can't let it rot in there. So we mammals and birds have the endotherms, inside energy, we maintain a body temperature by our metabolism that's high. Now, snake, when it eats something, will raise its body temperature to digest that food. And also, there's also a lot of physiological changes inside of a snake because they are long and slender that happen when a snake eats, such as their intestine gets 3 times as long as it was before. Now that doesn't mean their intestines just grows. It means that the folds and all the surface area of the intestine increases so that they can digest. And then when they're not eating, when there's no food in there, they get rid of all that because it's a waste of energy to try and maintain that tissue inside their body. So it's just really a kind of a fascinating and fun thing to think about, that when a snake eats, it can change its body temperature. When you eat, that doesn't happen. Your body temperature stays the same. So they're ectotherms. I said what they're reptiles, so they're related to lizards, turtles, crocodilians, alligators, and I just believe they're one of the most fascinating creatures in the entire planet. Just to tell you the truth, I mean they're outrageous. You look at this Woma python, and you look at the tiniest snake in the world, a little thread snake, which only gets 4 inches, 5 inches long, to the largest snake in the world, reticulated python, at over 22 feet long. You're talking huge diversity, 3,522 species. That number's probably already changed based on science, but we're not going to go there. But so the Snake's Life program, I start with what is a snake, and we showed you the skeleton, and then we go through all the morphology of a snake, and then we show you the diversity of the snakes and and all these different amazing things that the snakes can do, from flying to deep water swimming, to holding their breath for hours, to eating gigantic. I mean, their ability to eat gigantic prey items. There's so much to learn and so much to teach with snakes, that we hope that we can go from this fear to fascination. And then people, when they see a snake, don't scream and run and try and kill it. They say, well, what is its role in the ecosystem? Or what is that snake? What type of snake is it? And then they can start answering and say, wow, that snake is a garter snake, and it eats toads, tadpoles, worms, and it's in the middle of the food chain, so that there's something that eats it, and so it's very important. Or that's a rattlesnake in terms of for rodent control. Rattlesnakes are probably the best. Small bull snake or a rat snake, or I'm talking North American snakes here, are probably some of the best rodent control things out there. They can go where a raptor or where a fox can't go. They can go underground and eat all the baby mice, and so we want people to see them. And that brings a point. I asked a question on Facebook yesterday. If you're not following our Facebook, Center for Snake Conservation on Facebook, you should. That's where we get a lot of our educational stuff out there, and it's just a lot of fun. But the question I asked was, why are people okay with garter snakes but fear other snakes? What is it about a garter snake that is not scary? Now, there are people that are scared of garter snakes, but for the most part, people say, oh, I'm afraid of snakes, but garter snakes are okay. When you ask them, and you're like, well, or you ask them, what about garter snakes? Oh, those are okay. Well, why is that? Well, one, they're familiar with it, and instantly right there, familiarity takes away a factor of fear, and they know something about it. They've seen them in their yards, and so they're not dangerous. But people haven't seen rattlesnakes. They don't understand that a rattlesnake is very similar to a garter snake. All it wants to do is hide. It wants to get away from you. It's not afraid, and so I mean it is afraid. You're not afraid. You shouldn't be afraid of it. And so you ask them, well, what's different between a garter snake and a rattlesnake? Well, rattlesnakes attack you. No, they don't attack you. They don't attack people. They can't eat people. They're not going to. Now, sure, if you're trying to kill it, or you're trying to kick at it, or you're trying to hit it with a hoe or something, yes, it's going to strike and defend itself. Who wouldn't? What wouldn't? So you just have to imagine yourself in that rattlesnake's place, and just giant creature. This snake that's sitting in my hand actually is a great example. This morning when I was getting it out of its enclosure, it bit me right there on the palm. Bit me right there. Well, what did I do? I reached in, didn't wake it up, and just grabbed it and put so I could bring it here to show you. I'm gonna bite something that pulls me out of bed. Wouldn't you? Sure, I'm gonna bite the crap out of it. So that's where people are misunderstanding. But if I had done it right and taken my time to wake the snake up, touched it, and woke it up, and then gently lift it up instead of just grabbing it and picking it up, just gently lift it up, I would never. It'd be like this, just be sitting in my hand. Now, I wouldn't do that with a venomous snake at all, but because of the defense response, not an aggressive response. And that's what people don't, that with the snakespiration and the Snakes Live program and the things that the Center for Snake Conservation is doing, is that we're trying to, and I think we're reaching a lot of people. We're making snakes a familiar thing. If you know something about it, are you going to fear it? No, you're going to be fascinated by it. And that's that fear to fascination. So that brings us to why should you care about snake conservation? Well, why? Well, don't you like having a healthy planet? It's just like you care about carbon emissions, you care about deforestation, you care about all these other things, the pollution of our oceans, pollution of our conversion of land to cropland, or conversion of land to housing developments. All those things you care about, and snakes are right there in the mix of all of it. And actually, I would argue they're even higher in the mix. Their roles in the ecosystem are that mid-level predator. They don't eat plants. There's not a single snake in the world that's a herbivore or a vegetarian. They're all carnivores, and so they all are eating something else. And then they're also eaten by something else. Well, if you break that chain, you take that link out of the chain. If you have a chain, I should have a chain here for you. If you have a chain and you take a link out, is it a chain anymore? No, it's not. And snakes play that part. They're that part that control the top-down predator control or population control of mice and rats and other insects and other pests, that some things that we call pests, but I just think I'm a fan of all wildlife. So bees to me are fascinating. They're not pests. And you know, the mice and rats aren't pests. They're fun to find in the wild. But without a snake present, they would become pests. And then without snakes present, there's less food for deer. Well, deer's an herbivore. How is there less food for deer? Deer aren't eating snakes. Yes, but the things that snakes eat are eating the forage for the deer. So good example of it would be when we reintroduced wolves back in the Yellowstone. All of a sudden, all these plants started sprouting up because and then all these other wildlife species, the birds, the mammals, all the small mammals, they all came back because all of a sudden our behavior of the elk were changed. And so the elk were no longer crushing, trampling, eating, destroying the vegetation in certain places, especially river bottoms and in the river systems. And because the wolves were chasing them around, and all of a sudden your ecosystem's flourishing again. Same thing with snakes. Now, you remove snakes from that ecosystem, and all of a sudden the balance is gone. Everything. I mean, it's that mid-level. I mean, it's so important because it's that mid-level predator. What they do for us is they maintain everything below them in an even balance. Now, they also provide food for the bigger things, for the coyotes, the hawks. Hawks love to eat snakes. Let me tell you about it. Have you ever seen a snake flying by with a hawk? I'm sure you have. So all those things are just extremely fascinating. But without a snake, it's out of whack. And then we're in trouble. And then, you know, our ecosystems are in big trouble. All of a sudden, we have an overpopulation of rats, and all our corn and wheat are decimated, and our harvests are low, and our cereal costs, our food bills go straight up the roof. A snake can control food costs? Now, it's a stretch and it's a reach, but the correlation's there. That if we have more mice and rats eating, decimating our crops, there's more. The cost of the crop will go up. So just little things like that you know, you put them together. Nobody studied snakes to find out their real impact in it. We just make inference based on their natural histories. And our Snakes Alive program and the Snakespiration, I'm giving you those natural histories so that you can then think about it and put those connections together yourself and see how important these animals are, snakes are to our healthy ecosystems. So we try and make conservation personal, and once it's personal to you, you don't have to love snakes like I do. I'm a nut. I'm crazy. I'll admit it. I'm out there. I'm off the rocker, off my chair, crazy, but crazy about snakes. not psycho. Well, I might be that too, but cracking myself up. But if you have an appreciation for them, maybe when you see one in your yard, instead of killing it, you get your whole family out to look at it and see what it's doing. Watch it. It's just something that you should do. So that's one of our 2015 goals at the Center for Snake Conservation, is that we need to reach more people with snakespiration. Hence the snake show. That's why we're doing this video, is that we now have a tool, another tool in our toolbox for reaching more people about snakes. It's just there. I mean, it's something that it's easy to do, and all of a sudden we have it. It's there. And I love talking about snakes, so it's going to be a cakewalk for me. But another thing though is a snake in someone's hand. Is this doing it for you? Is this making you appreciate snakes? I can tell you all about this one with python, tell you about its body shape and why. This is just a baby, by the way. This snake will get to 4 feet long. Tell you about its body shape, how it's like a giant. It's really skinny here, but it's tall here, and why that's important for where they hunt. They hunt in burrows underground, and so it's a constrictor. It can't wrap up the prey item. It has to smash the prey item against the wall of the tunnel. So it slides past it and smashes it. Wow. I mean, that's pretty fascinating to think that this snake in its body shape is designed for that. But is this going to do it? Is this no? What's going to help? Well, yes, it does. But what's going to help and what's going to really go that point home is we're going to get all over the world in 2015. It might be me. It might be some of our partners. It might be some just our friends and researchers that we know. But we're going to get video for you of snakes, not just photographs, but video of you. And really, in particular, their interactions with their natural ecosystems, and then also interactions with people. And the reason I say interactions with people is because when you're trying to video a snake, the only thing it's trying to do is get away. And that's the interaction with people, is the snake just wants to go. It just goes. And so you've got to either get around and get in front of it so it can't go anywhere, or experienced snake person, a researcher who's doing it, will catch the snake and then show you what's going on with it. Or a little bit about it. So we're going to get more of those. And the best video to get is that when you have a snake in the wild and it hasn't seen you yet, and you're not disturbing it, but you can get the video and watch what it does. They're fascinating. How they hunt, they move, how some will sit and wait, some will bury themselves, some will crawl fast, some will periscope their head off the ground and look and zip. It's just a cool opportunity that we need to take advantage of. And we have all the media right now of snakes that is fear-based. The snake's going to get you, or dangerous is always used with work, or deadly is always used with snakes. And our videos in 2015 are going to show you that snakes are not dangerous. They are not deadly. Yes, they can kill you, but if you're going after them, maybe you deserve to die. Maybe you deserve to be given. I'm not going to go that far, but just a snake out in the wild is not a deadly thing. It cannot chase you down, bite you, and kill you, and it doesn't want to do that. You're not food, and so that's just something that we gotta just understand. We're not food. But so that's with snakespiration and then the snake show, we're going to do that. We're going to get out there and we're going to go crazy. I mean, we're going to go crazy. As soon as it starts getting warmer here, we've got to get some, we have some incredible trips planned and some top researchers around the world lined up for this. So it's going to be fun. Another thing that we're doing, and this is paramount, is we need to have the Center for Snake Conservation become a center. We're getting a space. It's no longer going to be an online presence. And that's great. We're going to maintain and grow our online presence. I mean, we're looking at almost 10,000 Facebook followers. That's a huge reach. And we're going to grow that this year. We're going to double that this year. But what we're also going to do is have a place where people can come and see snakes up close and personal. Now, sure, there's zoos. Yeah, zoos are great. But does a zoo have someone that is, some zoos do. I mean, there are a lot of amazing zoos. But what we want to do is just focus on these snakes and their coolness factor. I don't know how else to say it. The fascination factor is that. So we'll have these the center, and then we have people come into the center from all over the world to see the snakes and also sit down for live snake educational programs. Snakes Alive there. We're still going to go to the schools. We're still going to go to meetings. We're still going to spread our message on Facebook. But what we're going to have in 2015 is we're going to have a facility for you to come to and see the snakes. I mean, that's going to reach so many more thousands of people. It's just going to, or tens of thousands. You know, the potential is there to be. There's an unlimited potential there for reach and changing human attitudes towards, and that's our mission. That's Center for Snake Conservation mission, is to change human perceptions about snakes, so that when we do talk about their conservation, we can be effective in it. So another thing, and the last thing that we're going to do is, and I don't know if you guys go visit our website. It's not where it needs to be. It's not the leading website for snakes. And it will be by the end of 2015. It will be the leading place for snake educational materials, snake conservation, or if you just want to know something. Now there's thousands of snakes on websites, maybe a handful that are excellent, and we're going to give you those resources from our website. I mean, excellent websites out there for snakes. But we're the Center for Snake Conservation, and so what we want is when someone says snake. Well, what kind of snake? Well, we have the one resource where we can send you out and we can get you in touch with the right person, or we can give you the right information. And that's what the website needs to grow to. And right now it's just kind of it's an outdated source of information about the Center for Snake Conservation. It needs to be a source of information about snakes. And so, and of course the Center for Snake Conservation. So that's where we're growing towards. And so, you know, we kind of have the three goals: expand our reach, the facility, and our website. And if we can accomplish those three goals, and they're all measurable, we're going to have an incredible year in 2015. So this is a Woma python from Australia. Great little snake to do the snake show with. It's incredibly gorgeous. I mean, I love this snake. Hopefully you can see more of this snake as it grows and gets bigger. And when I put it around my neck, it will maybe actually reach around my neck instead of just there. See, it just sits there. Maybe it'll reach around completely around my neck. But we're gonna bring you other snakes during the snake show, and we're also gonna bring you guests of featured guests of snake researchers and snake conservation, people who are interested in snake conservation, people who just have pet snakes, zoo personnel that focus on snakes, people who are focused solely on snake conservation in terms of law. We have all sorts of resources out there, and we got to get them to you. And so it's out there, and we're gonna bridge the gap and bring it to you. So I'm excited for 2015. I know that you guys all are. Just everything I've seen on Google Plus and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, everybody is super pumped for this year, and I think so. So that's the snake show for today. Lunch and learn, adventure in snakes, and you know, as the weather warms up, maybe next week we'll be able to get out and do the show from outdoors on a real lunch and learn adventure to see if we can find some wild snakes. But for now, I'll enjoy my lunch, and here's the baby Woma python that got to spend the time with us. Again, remember what a snake is. I showed you the skeleton in the beginning of the video, and we'll wrap it there. So check out, find me. I'm Cameron Young. I'm the executive director here. Find me on Google Plus or Facebook. You find the Center for Snake Conservation on Google Plus and Facebook. We want you to learn more about these fascinating creatures, so that the fear is your fear. Even if you're not fearful, your appreciation grows and your fear turns into fascination. Thanks. That's it for today. And we will see you next week at 11 a.m. Mountain Time for another episode of The Snake Show. All right. Stay tuned, and I'll be in touch.